All I know is he went out with some friends and it ended up in a shooting.
Now on KGW News at 11, an injured teen in a coma as police search for the person who shot him. Plus, a former Timbers goalie wants justice after he says a surgery ended his career. And later, from pro sports tickets to gas, Washington lawmakers battle over balancing a multi-billion-dollar deficit with some stiff tax proposals. And tonight we begin with calm skies over Portland after storms moved through the area, but mostly missed the metro. We were treated, though, to some really stunning rainbows. Our crew caught this one over Woodburn following a rain shower this evening. Beautiful with those birds. Let's bring in our Daisy Caballero now with a recap. Hey, Daisy.
Hey, yeah, what a day it was. We started off with sunshine. We reached a new record for a daytime high here in the Rose City. And then we ended the day with several lightning strikes. Of course, you can see across the map here, across the radar, though, as you just mentioned, Christine, didn't quite impact us here locally as much. But you can, of course, see the radar that's been kind of running throughout the last 6 hours alone. And you can definitely see those clusters of where the lightning strikes, especially west of Salem and then also up into parts of southwest Washington as well. And we'll look at the rain totals in my full forecast. But as I mentioned, 82 degrees. We completely shattered the previous record that I do believe was 73 degrees that was set back nearly, I believe, 50 years ago. And the rest of the daytime highs, also 80 for Pendleton, for the Dalles, 70 degrees for Tillamook, and 77 down in Eugene. Currently right now holding 57 degrees, and the rest of our current temperatures definitely starting to see a cool down, already down to 50 for Happy Valley, 52 for Oregon City, and looking down south for Salem, also 52 degrees. So we're definitely going to continue to cool down into the overnight hours. Pretty comfortable, right? And the rain is going to continue. I'll have that full forecast for you coming up. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Daisy. And also a big thanks to all of you who were sharing your weather photos with us throughout the day. Those included some impressive clouds, strong wind, and also more rainbows. So you know you can send us pictures of the weather in your neighborhood anytime by texting them to 503-226-5088. Let's get you caught up now on tonight's other headlines. One person is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after a crash this evening in northeast Portland. It happened on Marine Drive at 185th. Police say a pickup and an SUV hit head-on. The two people in the truck were okay, but the driver of the SUV was pinned in and had to be extricated, then taken to the hospital. And if you're taking Amtrak over the next few days, it likely will be by bus instead of train. Amtrak says it discovered corrosion on several of its rail cars. It decided to pull the cars from service until it can be fixed. Only one Amtrak Cascades train is currently running, making a single round trip from Seattle to Eugene and back. Until further notice, Amtrak has chartered buses as a substitute for most scheduled train service. And in Salem, police say this man sexually assaulted 3 kids, and investigators think there could be more victims. U.S. Marshals arrested 19-year-old Damian Arellano in California, and he's now in the Marion County Jail. Investigators say he sexually abused 3 girls, 2 12-year-olds and a 17-year-old. A grand jury indicted him last month on multiple felonies. Now to an update from Multnomah County Court. Today, attorneys gave closing arguments in the case of a former Timbers goalie who sued a doctor for medical malpractice. Alma McCarty joins us now from the newsroom with the very latest. Alma.
Well, Christine, this first began back in 2018. Jake Gleason, a goalkeeper for the Timbers, developed shin pain and was diagnosed with stress fractures. His lawyers say he was told he needed metal plates attached to both shin bones. One of the club physicians performed the surgery. Although he was supposed to return to the pitch, Gleason never did after infections post-op led to additional surgeries. And more than 6 years later, his attorneys call the pain he still feels in his legs debilitating. Their lawsuit alleges that Dr. Richard Edelson didn't properly sanitize an orthopedic plate during a surgery for Gleason, and that when he realized the plate he needed was missing, he brought one in from an outside facility and did a flash sterilization of the implant. Moreover, Gleason's attorneys say that he wasn't told. Lawyers for Edelson, however, argue the flash sterilization method, which they referred to as immediate use steam sterilization, or IUSS, was appropriate.
11 surgeries later on that right leg. And this young man's treating doctor, someone he trusted to keep him safe, then concealed from him what really happened.
But at the end of the day, the question is, does IUSS, 4 minutes of steam sterilization at 270 degrees Fahrenheit, sterilize an implant? And the answer is still yes.
What happens now is in the hands of the jury. In week 3 of this trial, Gleason is seeking more than $25 million. According to his defense team, Gleason recently settled with 2 other defendants, including a surgery center partly owned by Edelson. A lawsuit originally filed against Edelson's medical clinic was dismissed. Christine?
We'll have to see what the jury says. Appreciate the update, Alma. Tonight, a 16-year-old is fighting for his life in the hospital after he was shot in the head over the weekend. Police found Elliot Beck lying near a car close to Cathedral Park in Portland Sunday morning. A close family friend says she and Elliot's family are trying to stay positive, and today doctors started weaning him out of his medically induced coma.
Unbelievable, because he is someone who is just so together, and there's no guns in their family. They're not a family who would be involved in gun violence. So it's just like, how did this happen? So shock, awe, and just devastation.
Police have not released any information about a suspect. This shooting comes less than a week after another in Southeast Portland that killed a 17-year-old. President Trump has announced 25% tariffs on all cars and car parts shipped into the U.S. Collection of the tariffs is expected to start next week. There is an exception for companies that import vehicles under the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. The White House says they'll get special consideration, but it's not clear yet exactly what that entails. The president said he expects automakers to relocate to the U.S.
A lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant, but their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly. But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites.
But the CEO of One Auto Trade Group says the tariffs will make cars more expensive to produce and sell in the U.S., ultimately leading to higher prices, fewer options, and fewer manufacturing jobs in the country. Back in our region, lawmakers in Washington are grappling with how to make up for a multi-billion-dollar deficit. Some of their latest proposals are being criticized as, quote, joy taxes. Catherine Cook is here now to explain. So, Catherine, what kinds of proposals are we talking about here?
Well, Christine, some ideas include adding a 10-cent refundable deposit for cans and bottles and taxing nicotine pouches like regular cigarettes. And how about adding $1 to Mariners and Seahawks tickets? Those are just a few examples of what Republicans are indeed calling joy taxes, and they don't like them. The Democrats behind the taxes and budget proposals say they're needed to avoid deep cuts and fund necessary services, like a 6 cents gas tax increase and higher ferry rates to help pay for road projects. And then there's the Discover Pass, which gets you into state parks. The price would go up from $30 to $45 a year. Hunting and fishing license rates would go up too. House Minority Leader Representative Drew Stokesbury calls the list troubling, while Democrats behind the budget proposals say they're necessary in order to keep services.
You might hear from Democrats that they want to tax wealthy Washingtonians and big businesses, and yes, they are taxing those folks, but they're also taxing regular people too. And I hope that regular people realize how many nickel and dime taxes they'll have to pay, literally taxing the joy out of their lives.
When I think about what taxes pay for, people find joy in having a well-funded public school. They find joy in having services at the local, county and city levels that work, having infrastructure.
All of the new proposals will be up for debate at the Capitol over the next month. Christine.
Appreciate you breaking it all down for us. Thank you, Catherine. Meantime, Oregon lawmakers are debating how much money to invest in education. The Joint Ways and Means Committee on Education held a hearing today on Senate Bill 5515. It essentially provides a framework on how much money will be spent on education over the next 2 years. The total budget is over $11 billion, but advocates are asking for $50 million more.
If the current bill goes through, we will see kids attending school without Braille, kids losing access to amplification who are deaf or hard of hearing, kids losing access to critical equipment that they need.
The education budget will be finalized in May when the revenue forecast is released.